Welcome to Make It Make Sense, the podcast where we unpack the profound truths of the Bible to make sense of our day to day lives, our everyday lives. I'm your host. I'm Les, LES. That's me. I'm your girl. And today we're diving into the foundations of biblical love, understanding agape and other biblical love concepts. And as you know, February is Black History Month, and Valentine's Day falls on the 14th of this month. So, what better way to start the month off than to talk about love? But before we dive into that, a quick reminder I need for everyone to go subscribe, leave a review, and share this podcast with your friends. All right, thank you. Now, let's explore the depths of agape love and how it can transform our daily lives. Agape love, as we've discussed before, or you may have heard before, is best exemplified in the Bible through various stories. And one of those powerful stories is the parable of the prodigal son. Now, before we explore this further, let's briefly define what agape love means. So, for all my Bible scholars, it's a Greek term used in the New Testament to describe selfless and unconditional love. That means no strings attached, the kind of love God has for us and the love we're called to extend to others. So God gives us agape love and we're supposed to extend that to others as well. So now, back to the prodigal son. This story can be found in Luke 15:11 through 32. I encourage you to go and read the entire story because it is a powerful one. It is so profound that it illustrates the illustration of agape love that's in this story. You can see it in action. You can see it. And it tells of a father who has two sons. Two sons. The younger son, it's something about those younger children that they just want what they want when they want it. But the younger son wanted his share of the inheritance, his share of the inheritance. That's what he wanted. But then he squanders it in a distant country and he finds himself in a desperate situation. He's broken and in need, but he decides to go home, expecting nothing more than to be a servant in his father's house. Now, side note, sometimes as parents, we understand that we may have to let our children come back home, but we know we have to let them go back out. So, yes, your child may have come home, but guess what? Let them come and regroup. I can't tell you what to do with your children in your own home, but I will say it's encouraging for you to know that your child feels safe enough to come back where it's safe to regroup and you send them back out. Just a side note, just my 2 cents. What makes this story resonate so deeply is the father's response. As the son approaches, the father runs to meet him. He embraces him and throws a lavish celebration to welcome him back into the family. How many of us would have done that? How many of us would have given our child money? They went out, they blew it, and they got to come home. But they get a party, they get welcomes, they get they're happy, the parent is happy to see them. We would not have done that. We really would not have done that without the Lord intervening in some way. In real life, we find ourselves playing two different roles in this parable. This father's love is unconditional, not based on his son's past mistakes or current state, but on the sheer joy of having him home. Sometimes we are the prodigal, making mistakes, experiencing brokenness, and seeking forgiveness. Other times, we may find ourselves in the position of the father, called to extend agape love, forgiving, welcoming, and embracing those who have wronged us. Yes, it is difficult sometimes to embrace someone that has wronged us, but God has commanded us to love one another unconditionally. God has commanded us to actually love our enemies. We're supposed to do that. But I understand that it's hard sometimes. And that's why you have to make sure that you're connected to God so that He can give you the discernment of how to do things, how the guidance of how to do what he's called us to do. In our own flesh, we can't do it. We can't. It's hard for us to love somebody that's done something wrong. It's hard for us to love somebody or even want to ask somebody to do something or talk to the person if they've done something wrong to you. It's difficult. But that's why you don't do anything in what? Your own strength. So call on God to help you get through this and navigate through helping and doing what he's commanded you to do. The prodigal son story challenges us to reflect on our capacity to both receive and give agape love. Notice that I said receive and give. Sometimes it's hard for us as humans to receive love. Yeah, I said it. It's hard for us to receive love, especially if it's something that we have not become accustomed to. But we must learn to receive it and give it. Receive and give. It teaches us that no matter how far we've strayed, God's love is always ready to welcome us back with open arms. God is always ready to welcome us back. He's married to the backslider. So he's always open. He's always there for us. Always. He's always there for us. We got to understand that. We got to get that through our head. Similarly, why am I struggling with that word? Similarly, it inspires us to embody that same love in our relationships, forgiving those who may have wronged us and welcoming them with open arms. We always talk about have godly relationships. But sometimes even those relationships may have some difficulties. But we have to understand that if we are extending agape love to one another, we can work through any type of problem or any type of situation and have an open heart. You can't be closed-hearted to where you've got this wall up and you don't allow anything to come through, because then you're missing your blessing. You're missing our own love that you may need to heal that broken heart. So go in it with an open mind and an open heart and be ready to receive and give agape love. The prodigal son is a powerful example. So now let's turn our attention to another biblical narrative, the story of Ruth and Naomi. In the book of Ruth, which, by the way, is a wonderful book, and there are some resources that you can go a little bit deeper into the book of Ruth. So I encourage you to go and really do a study on the book on Ruth, because she was really good. I enjoyed it, read it myself. So just go and read it. We see a beautiful example of loyalty, commitment, and sacrificial love. Ruth, a Moabite woman, becomes widowed alongside her mother-in-law Naomi. Instead of abandoning Naomi to face her challenges alone, Ruth utters these famous words: "Where you go, I will go, and where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God, my God." Sometimes we get wrapped up in our own world that we forget that someone else may be going through the same thing. We get wrapped up in being selfish in our own situations that we neglect to see our brother and sister struggling with the same thing or something similar. Why not get through it together? Why not become godly friends so that you can read the Bible, you can study, you can pray for each other? Why not do that instead of just shunning that person and say, I got my own problems? We do that because we're human in nature. We do that because we are just automatically selfish and sinful creatures. But there's power in unity. There's peace in being able to express what you are feeling. There's peace in being able to have someone that has a like mind that you have. It's a godly mind. Let me say that, a godly like mind. Okay. So make sure that you're connecting, in the God way, in the godly way, not just connecting because you guys are like-minded and have stories that you could share, and then all of a sudden you're going left and you really shouldn't be going that way. So just make sure that you have the right connections. This profound statement reflects an agape like commitment. Ruth demonstrates selfless love by choosing to stay with Naomi, even when it would have been easier for her to return to her own people. She embraces Naomi's God and culture, putting Naomi's needs above her own. Putting her needs above her own. She could have left this woman by herself. She could have left her to fend for herself, but she said, no, where you go, I will go. Where you stay, I will stay. Your God is my God. That's what Ruth said. In real life terms, this might look like a deep and enduring friendship where one friend supports another through thick and thin. Imagine a scenario where a friend is going through a tough season. Perhaps they've lost their job, face personal tragedy, or are grappling with a challenging decision. Imagine that. Imagine that a friend is going through a tough season. In those moments, a friend takes on a Ruth like role, offering unwavering support and companionship. I actually posted not too long ago that it's important to have God ordained relationships and support. It's something about that support that is amazing. The support system, especially a godly support system, is what's needed. That godly support system can be praying for you and you not even know it. That godly support system can pop up and give you an encouraging word before you even remember that you were depressed. So let's make sure that we are the safe place for people to go and talk to. Let's make sure that we have those like-minded connections, that unwavering support systems. Shout out to my support system. I love you guys dearly. Agape love, in the context of Ruth and Naomi's story, challenges us to be the friend who stays, who remains committed, and who walks through the storms of life with others. It prompts us to prioritize the well being of our loved ones above our convenience and comfort. As we navigate these complexities of human relationships, let's draw inspiration from the parable of the prodigal son and Ruth and Naomi. May it remind us that agape love has the power to heal, restore, and transform both our lives and the lives of people around us. It's important to have those relationships. It's important to show agape love, unconditional love. If there has to be strings attached, I don't want it. I want the unconditional love that God has for me. I want the unconditional love that my support system has for me. And I want to also extend agape love to my support system. And I know for a fact that I love God and God loves me, and that will never change. So today is another short one, but agape love. Go tell someone you love them without the strings attached. Go give your loved one a hug. Let them know that you're there for them. Go love on them. And I promise you, it will change not only their trajectory, but it also will minister to you as well. So thank you for joining me for this episode of Make It Make Sense. And remember to subscribe, leave a review, and share this podcast. Until next time, may the transformative love of God guide your journey. See you later.